This week's fight recap, Hall versus Silva.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast, everybody. I'm cold as fuck.
And I'm Tim Fulton.
Okay, let's get right into it. This is the fight recap for UFC Hall versus Silva.
Yeah, it was an interesting night, to say the least.
Yeah, so this sucks. This really sucks.
So for me, it's an outside perspective looking in because we've only been doing this for about a year. So we've talked about this before. I've been following UFC very loosely,
Yeah.
but I've only really paid attention for the past year or so. So I've never seen Anderson Silva fight ever.
It's so difficult now that everything is past.
Yeah.
To go back and realize the impact that he had and how crazy the shit that he did was.
Yeah.
It's almost like trying to explain to somebody how crazy NES was when it came out. Or
And then you show it to them and they're like, the fuck is this?
yeah, like you're like, oh, it was really crazy. They're like, oh, we get it. And they're like, yeah, but like it was really different and groundbreaking. They're like, I got PS5. So fuck yourself.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, so dude, 45 years old.
45.
He still looked fucking good.
Yeah. He looked good in that fight up until...
Granted, Uriah Hall is not on the top 10 yet, but he definitely has the skills. His whole knock is his mental game, his confidence and whatnot. But he's a very dangerous guy. Knocks dudes out in spectacular fashion all the time. But Anderson at 45, to be able to be in there with somebody that's like 9 years younger than him, he looked fucking good still.
Yeah, he did.
He was winning the second round until he got caught. I didn't even see what he got dropped with at first.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
We both said the same thing. We were like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and I think in the third round he came out and he was trying to get it back because he did something that he doesn't normally do. I mean, he definitely takes chances when he drops his hands and he showboats and, and tries to goad people, but he kind of just charged at Hall.
Yeah. With
his hands down. I think he was just trying to be overly aggressive because he had just gotten dropped and he was trying to win it back and he got caught flush coming in.
Bisping put it correctly there, I think. He said he looked sloppy.
Yeah, just for that second.
Yeah, but that's all it takes.
Yeah, for that second he was sloppy.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it wasn't him showboating. I think he was it looked to me like he was trying to regain control and try to reestablish just his position in the fight after getting dropped. I think he needed it for himself and he also needed it on the scorecards, but it sucks seeing a guy that Anderson Silva, who in many opinions, and even mine, like if someone says, is Anderson Silva the greatest of all time, and you could talk about Khabib and GSP and everything, his name is never not
on the list.
And it's always in there. And it's if you said he's the greatest of all time, you can't argue he's not.
Yeah.
There's, you know what I mean? So it was kind of rough seeing him go out like that, but it was cool seeing Hall and him at the end of the fight because he was such a hero of his, and how nice Anderson Silva, just of a guy that he is. So that sucks, especially since there was no crowd.
I know. What a weird way to go out too.
Yeah, he was like beloved in Brazil, and it's a shame that this had to happen this way. But again, fucking fantastic career, and I don't want to see him fight anymore. I don't think.
No.
After that one, I think we don't need to see him anymore. He's done.
I agree with you. It's a hard thing to say, and especially because this has been like the year of retirements.
Yeah.
Like, guys left and right are going down.
Yeah.
Going down. That's a bad way to put it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and he doesn't have anything else to prove. I mean, but then again, like Ken Shamrock once said, if I want to fight, that's my decision. I don't think anyone should be able to tell me not to as long as I'm healthy.
That's true.
So if he does, I hope he doesn't. I hope that all the questions that he had about himself, whatever, were answered, and that he is content with just leaving the sport and just staying around it. But because we know how that road goes eventually.
Yeah, it seemed like to me he wanted to go out with a fight. Like he knew he was done, and he wanted to he wanted to like put an end to his career, but he didn't just want to be like, oh, by the way, everyone, I'm not fighting anymore. He wanted to go out with a fight.
Yeah.
Which is respectable. Like,
yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm hoping.
I just bravo to a fucking one of the best careers and one of the best to ever do it.
All right. So we have a legend on his way out, and now we have an up and comer making a fucking name for himself.
So Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Touchy-Fili. So Bryce Mitchell, something camo shorts, something. The UFC let him wear camo shorts.
Thing. That made my night.
Yeah. So
that redeemed the night for me.
Andre Fili definitely the toughest fight that he's ever had.
Yeah.
Andre Fili should get a lot of credit for having the performance against the guy that everyone thought was going to win. This is a big step up for Bryce. I think that this is a good fight for him for his career.
Yeah.
Because Andre Fili is not a huge name. He's big within MMA community, but not like nobody would know who he was if you asked somebody who casually watches MMA. Yeah. So, having a tough fight like this that you have to really grind out and everything like that, it's good because he realizes, there's different levels to this shit. And as good as he is, he realizes like it's not always just going to be, I'm going to take you down, fantastic finish. Like there's going to be guys that just give you problems and you're not going to be able to just kind of walk through everybody. Not that he has that outlook, but sometimes like if things come too easy, it could almost be a curse. Because then they throw you into because once he gets a big name like he's getting, there's not going to be any no-name guys he's fighting. They're going to start throwing him in there with guys that are well-known, and they're well-known for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good fight for his career. So yeah.
That does make a lot of sense for me, and he was probably one of the harder grapplers he had to deal with. I mean, he took him to the ground a lot, and everyone was expecting him to get some sort of crazy submission. Yeah. Not right away, but with relative ease.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, Touchy-Fili, had such explosive stand-up power, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really proved a legitimate problem, and it shows Bryce that he still has room for improvement in his own top-notch game.
Yes.
Even though he was still relatively dominant throughout the performance.
Yeah.
There's room for improvement. So like it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he one thing that impressed me about Fili was his stamina and how long he kept his explosiveness in that fight. Because Mitchell was getting obviously tired from grappling so much.
Yeah.
But, Andre was fighting off the whole time and still exploding not getting overly exhausted. I mean, he's obviously got a little tired at the end of the fight, but the length of time in which he kept that explosiveness throughout the fight was impressive, because normally you see guys not being able to do those moves after they were in, 1-2 rounds with a fight that was going like it was with Mitchell, like the heavy grappling, constantly trying to defend takedowns, constantly getting taken down, having to get back up, and still being able to explode like that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I really don't have much else to add to that. It's very tiring. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it's very tiring being on your back.
Yeah.
And having to fight off a guy who is in a mounted position. And Bryce was all over the place. He was in full mount. He was in half mount. He was in it's much more tiring than an average viewer would expect.
If you don't understand how tiring grappling or even throwing punches is, like, just if you ever have time, just lay down on the ground and stand up 10 times as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Or just throw as many punches in the air as fast as you can for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You'll think the first 10 seconds, 20 seconds is easy, and then you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm doing nothing, and I'm exhausted. It's really hard to explain.
It is.
But
especially as a couch warrior.
You don't understand how quickly you get exhausted from doing something that seems like it's not that hard when you look at it.
Yeah, because one instance of it isn't hard.
Yeah.
15 minutes of it is. 5 minutes of it is.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Moving on up.
Maurice Greene versus Greg Hardy.
To the east side.
Continue, sir. This podcast is switching to a musical. So Greg Hardy gets out of the first round with Maurice Greene, and he looks tired.
They both did, to be fair, but yeah, Hardy looked.
Yeah, Hardy looked more tired, and he almost missed weight. He had to go back and recut. So I think that his game is definitely improving. Right, we can't deny that.
No, you can't.
So, I think that the next evolution for Greg Hardy, as far as like if what would really increase his overall game in there, would be to get a dietitian and lose a solid 25 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, get below the 265 or at least just walk around at 265 because I think he walks around 280 something.
That's ridiculous.
And that extra weight, it's good for the first round when you're throwing, punches like he throws. Yeah. But in the long run, when you start getting guys that are higher and higher in the division, you're not going to be able to knock everybody out in the first round.
Yeah.
And when you're carrying all that extra weight, you're really going to wish you weren't in the second and third or the fourth and the fifth.
And it seems like that's his game plan. Like, his plan in most of the fights I've seen thus far have been, let's get this guy down as fast as humanly possible.
Knock him out. Yeah, let's knock him out.
Which, I mean, it's a fair strategy, but if it fails, you have to have the backup. And like you were saying, like, if you gas out completely, and we were seeing in his interview, he was still tired.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not just tired, he was winded in his interview. And they didn't even go the full 2 rounds.
No, they went, a minute and 13 seconds into the second round?
Yeah, something like that.
And, this is one of those things. I think success is a kind of one of those anchors in a way where it's not, he hasn't had the fight where he's been exhausted to the point where he loses a fight because of it, or he almost loses a fight because of it.
It's almost like he should.
Yeah.
Just to like knock it into him that he needs to improve.
And granted, this fight looked horribly at the end. I think that in a replay, they did stop it slightly early because I think Greene was pretty with it, but it did look bad. I would have definitely stopped it if I was the ref probably. But he gets another win. So we'll see who he gets next.
All right. Next up, we have Kevin Holland versus Charlie Antevaros.
Yeah. So this one, I got like frustrated with the commenting crew. I don't know why, but Kevin Holland took Charlie down in a really weird position.
Yeah.
He had almost like a front head and arm choke on him. And when he took him down, his head slammed down, but Holland's elbow and arm were behind his neck. Yeah. And I immediately saw it. I'm like, his neck got fucked up. Like before they stopped the fight. And Charlie was like verbally saying my neck, and he didn't even tap, but they stopped the fight. And they couldn't figure out what happened to him. Like nobody realized that was his neck. And they were like, oh, it's his shoulder. I'm like, how do you not know that like it was...
And the replays they kept on showing was from the wrong angle.
Yeah.
They were showing like a blocked angle, which the original angle that they showed during the fight clearly showed what you were explaining.
Yeah.
But it was, the whole thing was weird.
Yeah, I was worried. I was relieved that I saw him putting his feet up on the cage.
Yeah.
Because when I saw that and his head, the way that his arm fell, because it's almost like you have like this fulcrum for your neck to snap on.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, he's moving his feet, but the ref did a smart thing. He's like, don't move, because the ref knew that it was his neck.
Yeah.
They did say that he was able to move his hands and his feet after they took him off on the stretcher, but I was like, they need to put a neck brace on him immediately.
Oh yeah.
And I was a little disappointed that Kevin Holland celebrated the way he did. I mean, I know he's happy, but he's got to know that his neck was fucked up. And I don't know. I'm not trying to talk shit or anything, but it didn't sit the right way, because he could have been seriously fucking injured.
Yeah, I'm behind you on that one. Even when everything was like realized and the stretcher came out, like Charlie hadn't moved at all.
Yeah.
For the entire time that he was celebrating, and he was still like gloating almost while he got his hand raised. And like, you don't want to take that away from him because he did get the win, and it is a big deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you kind of also want to be like, guy.
Again,
chill out, like,
adrenaline's pumping, you're excited.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he like ripped his arm out from underneath his head too when they stopped the fight, and I was just like, dude, you know that he said my neck. Like, I understand that, like,
yeah.
I just, from an outside perspective with not being involved, it could have went better.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
Yeah, just hope his neck is okay. It looked like a broken neck, or at least it might have crushed one of his discs or something, because that was pretty brutal. And last but not least, we have Greene versus Moises. It's a weird last name.
It is a weird last name.
Moises.
I keep wanting to call him Moses.
Yeah, so Bobby Greene just fought in the beginning of this month, I think, or the beginning of October.
Mm-hmm.
And remember we were talking, he had the long layoff, and it was good to see him back and everything like that.
Yeah.
This was a close fight, but I don't know. Bobby just couldn't seem to get it together the right way with this one. I don't know. It sucks because, when guys take short notice fights or they fight back-to-back, sometimes it's great because they get 2 back-to-back wins. But sometimes it's too much too soon, or that, not proper time to prep, or you just had a weight cut and it's, you have a bad weight cut, whatever the case.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything like that with Greene, but it's unfortunate that he had a win, with the long layoff, and then he's just recently coming back, and now he has a loss. So, because I like Bobby Greene, so that's all.
I'm going to take the reverse perspective. I'm going to say congratulations, Thiago, for
100%.
for accomplishing this goal of taking down Bobby Greene, even though he just recently had a win and was rising once again.
Yes.
You know what? It was a fantastic performance. I think the refs scoring, I think a couple of them put it to 30-27, but no matter how it ended up, each round was a close round.
Yeah,
like
they weren't blowouts by any means.
Yeah,
it was somebody that had
exactly.
like a slight edge where you could, probably put your money on it, but
yeah.
It was. I felt confident that Thiago had gotten it by the end of the.
I was with you on that, but
so much so that I didn't even watch the decision.
No, you walked away disappointed.
Yeah, yeah.
I very well remember that.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen.
All right, so I think that just about wraps up the recap for today. Let us know what you guys think about these fights in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Last but not least, don't forget to go to brodownpro.com. Get all your Brodown gear. We have all Brodown stuff. Bro. And we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.